He must enter in all my feelings. The same books, the same music must charm us both. There is something so amiable in the prejudices of a young mind that one is sorry to see them give way to the reception of more general opinions. Nobody who has not been in the interior of a family can say what the difficulties of any individual of that family may be. I have no talent for certainty. I must learn to be content with being happier than I deserve. The very first moment I beheld him, my heart was irrevocably gone. Friendship is certainly the finest balm for the pangs of disappointed love. If I loved you less, I might be able to talk about it more. My affection and wishes are unchanged, but one word from you will silence me on this subject forever. I may have lost my heart, but not my self-control. I am the happiest creature in the world. Perhaps other people have said so before, but not one with such justice. I am happier ever than Jane. She only smiles, I laugh. When I fall in love, it will be forever. To be fond of dancing was a certain step towards falling in love. My idea of good company is the company of clever, well-informed people who have a great deal of conversation. That is what I call good company. We all know him to be a proud, unpleasant sort of man, but this will be nothing if you really liked him. If I could but know his heart, everything will become easy. Her heart did whisper that he had done it for her. There could have been no two hearts so open, no tastes so similar, no feelings so in unison. I have not the pleasure of understanding you. Give a girl an education and introduce her properly into the world, and 10 to 1 but she has the means of settling well, without further expense to anybody. For what do we live, but to make sport for our neighbors and laugh at them in our turn? Till this moment, I never knew myself. He is a gentleman, and I am a gentleman's daughter. So far, we are equal. Nothing ever fatigues me but doing what I do not like. Oh, Lizzie, do anything rather than marry without affection. It is not time or opportunity that is to determine intimacy. It is disposition alone. 7 years will be insufficient to make some people acquainted with each other, and 7 days are more than enough for others. There are people who the more you do for them, the less they will do for themselves. Which of all my important nothings shall I tell you first? Without music, life would be a blank to me. Let us never underestimate the power of a well-written letter. Follies and nonsense, whims and inconsistencies do divert me. I own it and I laugh at them whenever I can. To wish was to hope, and to hope was to expect. They walked on without knowing in what direction. There was too much to be thought and felt and said for attention to any other objects. A large income is the best recipe for happiness I ever heard of. Indeed, I am very sorry to be right in this instance. I would much rather have been merry than wise. We do not suffer by accident. Do not let the behavior of others destroy your inner peace. Every moment has its pleasures and its hope. To sit in the shade on a fine day and look upon verdure is the most perfect refreshment. What do you know of my heart? What do you know of anything but your own suffering? She was heartily ashamed of her ignorance, a misplaced shame. Where people wish to attach, they should always be ignorant. But indeed, I would rather have nothing but tea. Business, you know, may bring money, but friendship hardly ever does. I could not be happy with a man whose taste did not, in every point, coincide with my own. Know your own happiness. You want nothing with patience, or give it a more fascinating name, call it hope. One half of the world cannot understand the pleasures of the other. You must be the best judge of your own happiness. I come here with no expectations, only to profess now that I am at liberty to do so, that my heart is and always will be yours. Had I been in love, I could not have been more wretchedly blind, but vanity, not love, has been my folly. A man does not recover from such devotion of the heart to such a woman. He ought not, he does not. There is no charm equal to tenderness of heart. I am determined that only the deepest love will induce me into matrimony, so I shall end an old maid and teach your 10 children to embroider cushions and play their instrument very ill. Were I to fall in love, indeed, it will be a different thing, but I have never been in love. It is not my way or my nature, and I do not think I ever shall. Do not be in a hurry, the right man will come at last. She was one of those who, having once begun, would always be in love. Beware how you give your heart. There are as many forms of love as there are moments in time. We live at home, quiet, confined, and our feelings prey upon us. Nobody minds having what is too good for them. Full many a flower is born to blush unseen and waste its fragrance on the desert air. It isn't what we say or think that defines us, but what we do. Silly things do cease to be silly if they are done by sensible people in an impudent way. Laugh as much as you choose, but you will not laugh me out of my opinion. You are too generous to trifle with me. If your feelings are still what they were last April, tell me so at once. I always deserve the best treatment because I never put up with any other. A girl likes to be crossed a little in love now and then. It is something to think of. Seldom, very seldom, does complete truth belong to any human disclosure. Seldom can it happen that something is not a little disguised or a little mistaken. What strange creatures brothers are. I wish, as well as everybody else, to be perfectly happy, but like everybody else, it must be in my own way. As a child, I was taught what was right, but I was not taught to correct my temper. I was given good principles, but left to follow them in pride and conceit. Run mad as often as you choose, but do not faint. Nobody can tell what I suffer, but it is always so. Those who do not complain are never pitied. She was sensible and clever, but eager in everything. Her sorrows, her joys, could have no moderation. Stupid men are the only ones worth knowing after all. I will be calm. I will be the mistress of myself. Vanity and pride are different things, though the words are often used synonymously. The more I know of the world, the more I am convinced that I shall never see a man whom I can really love. I require so much. I hate to hear you talk about all women as if they were fine ladies instead of rational creatures. None of us want to be in calm waters all our lives. The person, be a gentleman or lady, who has not pleasure in a good novel must be intolerably stupid. It is a truth universally acknowledged that a single man in possession of a good fortune must be in want of a wife. A lady's imagination is very rapid. It jumps from admiration to love, from love to matrimony in a moment. There is nothing I will not do for those who are really my friends. I have no notion of loving people by halves. It is not my nature. In vain have I struggled. It will not do. My feelings will not be repressed. You must allow me to tell you how ardently I admire and love you. I cannot fix on the hour, or the spot, or the look of the words which laid the foundation. It was too long ago. I was in the middle before I knew that I had begun. There are few people whom I really love, and still fewer of whom I think well. I declare, after all, there is no enjoyment like reading. How much sooner one tires of anything than of a book. When I have a house of my own, I shall be miserable if I have not an excellent library. Angry people are not always wise. A person may be proud without being vain. Pride relates more to our opinion of ourselves, vanity to what we would have others think of us. I do not want people to be very agreeable, as it saves me the trouble of liking them a great deal. You pierce my soul. I am half agony, half hope. I have loved none but you. There is a stubbornness about me that never can bear to be frightened at the will of others. My courage always rises at every attempt to intimidate me. The more I see of the world, the more am I dissatisfied with it, and every day confirms my belief of the inconsistency of all human characters and of the little dependence that can be placed on the appearance of merit or sense. I could easily forgive his pride if he had not mortified mine. What are men to rocks and mountains? Ah, there is nothing like staying at home for real comfort.